Welcome, low ego action heroes. This is Debbie Levitt from Delta CX. We're a full service CX and UX consultancy. Check us out. And welcome to a special holiday edition. It is December 20th, 2021, and today we are live with a micro lesson from the always fantastic Pierre Mario Orecchioni, who just happens to be my boyfriend and a WordPress expert. So for people who are joining live, we're happy to take questions because you might be working on building your portfolio, but Pierre Mario is going to walk you through a sample portfolio with lots of different styles of modules so that you can pick the one that's right for you, and you can build in wordpress.org. Note that this is going to be the free version of WordPress. This is not wordpress.com. We do not suggest you go for wordpress.com, but enough about me talking about that. Let's bring Pierre Mario in. Hello, Eunice. Congratulations, Eunice, on finding an internship. If you need to watch this show, it will be in the micro lessons playlist later. So let's bring in the extremely famous Pierre Mario Orecchioni. Pierre Mario, would you please spell your name for people? Very nice. Spell your name and tell us who the heck you are.
I get to do the spelling thing too after hearing many people spell their names. My name is Pierre Mario, spelled Piermario, Orecchioni, Orecchioni. That's a lot of letters, but that's me.
Okay, well, thank you. And I'm muting my microphone when you talk because we're in the same room. So also, can you please tell people about your fantastic wonderfulness? You have a long history creating websites, working in WordPress. So tell people a little bit about your background in this and, of course, where they can find you and connect with you.
I've been building websites and lately, leading the last 15 years, WordPress websites. I first started using WordPress in 2007, but this was not actually my main gig. I used to do a totally different job and design kitchens. So life changes. And so I've been building WordPress websites for quite a while. I have a camera in a weird position, so I might just randomly look at places while talking. And I'm also, beside being a WordPress freelancer that you can find on my website, happierweb.com, which I'll share on Slack or something if anybody wants to check out the site. I'm also a volunteer in the WordPress community, especially in the Italian one. I'm part of the Polyglots team, which has the task of translating WordPress versions, plugins, and themes into Italian so that Italians that don't speak, Italians that don't speak English or any other people who wants to use an Italian localization can enjoy a possibly good translation. And that's who I am and why, beside being somewhat close to Debbie, that's why I landed this surprise appearance on the show.
Yes, thank you. I would say you're so close to me, you're about 20 feet away, right over there. Yeah,
Hi.
they can't see that, but we're in the same room. Hi, Solomon. Hi, Virginia. So you're going to be taking us through building a sample portfolio in WordPress. I'm going to mostly mute my mic and stay out of it, but I'll monitor the chat room. So if anybody has any live questions, you can leave them right here in the YouTube chat, the LinkedIn chat, or tweet them. I'm going to be keeping my eye on that, but I will mostly, hey, Catherine, I will mostly be muting my mic and staying out of it. And let's see, other than that, that the last time Pierre Mario did this privately for some people in our Slack channel, it did take 2 hours. So we recognize that some people might need a bathroom break. We don't know how long it'll take this time. Maybe Pierre Mario, you can speak at 1.5x.
I hope so.
Hi, Adair. I came by to say hi. Can't stay. Okay, well, have a good day in Brazil and be safe and healthy and catch you later. All right, so I'm just going to let Pierre Mario take it away, and I'm just going to act as the moderator in case anybody has questions. But if you are wondering what he's doing or why, or you have any questions at all, please ask. This time is yours. And if you need to leave at some point, this will be archived in the micro lessons on YouTube. So, of course, please subscribe over on YouTube, and any questions you can have about the show, it's answered on deltacx.com/links. All answers are there. All right, so I'm going to pass this over to Pierre Mario and see if he can share his screen, and I'm going to mute and get out of his way.
Okay, so first of all, let's try to share my screen. Ooh.
Wrong screen.
I'm sharing my screen,
No,
but
shared. There you go.
does it look better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, so first of all, quick step back, quick plug to the WordPress.org community. Difference between WordPress.org and WordPress.com is that WordPress.org is the open source version of WordPress, meaning that it's free to download and to install on your own hosting. And that's the one I personally recommend because it gives you full freedom on what you can do with your WordPress website. WordPress.com is a hosted version provided by Automatic, which is an awesome company that is somewhere in the world of WordPress, but it's a paid service and comes with different tiers. So somehow, if you want more freedom while still being cost effective, you might want to check out WordPress.org. So this is my profile as a WordPress.org volunteer. Joining the community and helping volunteer in WordPress is fun, is a great way to learn WordPress, and it's full of nice people. So I highly recommend that. So once I said this, let's get started. So I created a simple, very simple, basic website here for a UX designer based in Penguin Village called Arale Norimaki. And so we're going to go through the steps needed to build a portfolio page, which looks like this. So this is the page we're going to build together. So a very simple page, which has title, subtitle, a big hero image, and then some other modules with project context, problem solution, accordions, margins and paddings that I will have to fix along the way, and some other full page accordion and other sections. So we'll see how to build all these things, and I'll guide you through the WordPress editor. So this is also gallery. So we're going to see how to build all of this. So quick word about what we're going to use. So when you first install WordPress, say you buy your own hosting, you just install WordPress, or you're hosting sometimes as an automated WordPress installation process if it's not already installed for you. So the first thing you'll see is this dashboard page, which gives you all the main tools that you will use to create your website. So the dashboard here is very simple. There's these widgets that can be moved around and customized depending on your screen size or what you actually want to have available. And some more widgets will come out as you install other components. Going quickly through the WordPress admin sidebar, the main thing you need to know are that the content you can post on WordPress websites are posts and pages. And while this can be somewhat intuitive, I'll have a quick word about it. So posts are basically meant to be blog posts. So it's a kind of content you publish which is tied or has a timeline or time-sensitive content. So news, announcements, anything you want to publish on the website that has a date. That's post. Pages are, of course, pages and are those elements in a website, those pages which like the about page or the contact page that you just build, but they don't necessarily need very frequent updates, or they can just stay as they were originally meant for some time. Other things in the dashboard, you'll see a media library. So this is where you'll find all your images and files that you can upload. And these are some other menus, like the appearance menu, where you can manage which themes you're using on your website. There's the plugins part of the menu. So plugins are components that you can install on your WordPress installation that basically adds different functions or expand what the basic WordPress, a basic WordPress website can do. So that's one of the main differences between the basic WordPress.org WordPress version that we're using and, for instance, WordPress.com, which only allows you to use plugins in the higher and more expensive tiers of their services. So it's all up to you. But if you want to play around with different plugins and functions, WordPress.org is the more accessible way to just do whatever you want on the website. Then there's other menus which we're not really going through. These are users. Right? As of now, there's just one user here. Tools is import, export, some other WordPress tools to check that everything in the site is working as it should. And settings are all the pages where and different settings you can use on your site to like define the time zone, language, decide who can comment on the website, for example. Let's just
turn off commenting.
turn off
You don't
comments.
want it.
No, you don't. You think you do, but at least make the so comments must be manually approved. So just going quickly or semi-quickly through the main WordPress setup functions.
Let's also quickly remind people that sometimes WordPress websites can be easily hacked when you've created an admin account with an easy password. So it's generally advised over in the users, or when you're first setting up your account, do not create an account called admin. Those are the ones that tend to get hacked. So make sure you give your username something long or weird or almost like a password, so that you can be sure that only you are getting into your account. And
Yes,
Virginia says she grew up watching that anime show. It's hilarious.
Oh,
Yay.
yay. It's one of my favorites. Especially the 80s version for those who were around, or those who like an older version than the reboots, which I prefer.
How about we jump into what plugins you're going to need to make this work?
So, first of all, I'll go through quickly themes to say what we're using. So when you install WordPress, you'll find a few default themes already included in WordPress. The official themes that come with WordPress are the 20 series, and they are 2019, 2020, 2021, and as you can see, there's roughly one major version of WordPress being released every year, and so every year and every major version comes with a new theme. So there was supposed to be a new, very interesting, brand new theme, which was supposed to be released mid-December. Well, I want to say something quickly. Otherwise, how do I get to 2 hours? So I was very excited to show you the new theme that is coming with the new version of WordPress, but the whole version has been delayed and will be released in January 25. So we'll just use something else, and a theme that I find very fast and very close to the core WordPress function. So what I'm using is called GeneratePress, and you can now it's already installed. Otherwise, if you just open your WordPress website and you're looking for a theme, you just go through Appearance, Themes, click on Add New, and you'll be shown all the different themes that are available for free. Many of these are, all of these are free, but many of these are freemium themes and are somewhat limited in functions sometimes. Even GeneratePress has like a premium version, but you can already do quite a lot with the basic version of GeneratePress. So that's why I chose it. So what you'll do is just look for the theme name you're looking for. You'll find install instead of activated, but it's pretty easy. Next thing, plugins.
Well, after you install it, you do have to activate it. Okay,
yes,
sorry, go ahead.
you do
And thanks,
yeah,
Urvi. Good to see you.
Yeah, and by the way, if somebody has questions or I'm going too fast or too slow on something, just too slow, yeah, just let me know. Okay, I'll try to speed up. I'm trying to use the most simple and less bloated setup that you can possibly use to build something. So I'm now using basically 4 plugins right now, but actually for the first part that I'm going to show, just these three will be already enough. So the first one is Gutenberg. So Gutenberg is basically the new editor that comes with WordPress, and it's where all the experiments and new functions are developed and tested before they are merged into the major version of WordPress. So even if in this case the new version of WordPress is not yet released, a lot of the new function, even if not all the new things that are coming with the new versions, are already available through the Gutenberg
But it
plugin.
sounds like
So,
people don't need this plugin. They would just want it if they wanted to try out anything beta or new.
not exactly, because I mean, I might be a little biased because I'm the part of the translators for Gutenberg, so I basically work on it weekly. But it's not just about functions, but the whole WordPress Gutenberg editor thing is constantly evolving. Sometimes gets updated even a few times a month. So beside the new function, you also get bug fixes and even UX improvements. So the more updated you keep Gutenberg, the better your WordPress version will be. And somebody might wonder if they've already dealt with WordPress earlier, or if they have been researching themes and stuff. There are so-called website builders like Elementor, Divi, and a bunch of others. They are still available. They're okay, but Gutenberg and basically the editor that is built into WordPress is evolving in a way that it's probably going to in some time completely change how themes are built. So I would recommend to stick as much as possible as something that is making a close use of Gutenberg, because this is the more future-proof way to go. So you don't need to rebuild your website in a year if a new function comes out, you want to use it, and you're tied to a builder. So that's my suggestion. So beside Gutenberg, which is basically prescribed by the doctor, if I were a doctor, the other two plugins I'm using are Generate Blocks, which is a plugin developed by the same developers that make Generate Press. And Generate Blocks
Something happened with Pierre Mario's audio. Were you hearing him? Did he go quiet? Something happened? Yeah, I'm not getting audio from you. Yeah, okay. Sirocco and Catherine says they can't hear anything. Do you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Let's ask. Do you all hear me? You can't hear him. Okay, Pierre Mario, try again.
Can you hear me now?
I don't think so. Let me mute my mic.
Oh.
Try saying something?
Can you hear me?
I think they hear you now. Okay.
Okay.
Something happened. Did you see it on your end?
Nope.
Okay, that was strange.
Yeah, I was.
I'll keep an
will-
eye on Pierre Mario's volume levels in case that happens again, and we'll go back to him sharing his screen. And maybe you can jump right in where you're showing people, instead of the history of these plugins, maybe you can jump in on just how to install them. I would love to get us starting to build a page in the next few minutes.
Yeah, I'm almost done.
Okay. Thank you to everybody in the chat room who said you couldn't hear us and now you can hear us. Thank you, Siddharth and Shir, Sirocco, Catherine, Anita, everybody that's really helpful. So don't forget to share your screen. Special friend.
Okay, just tell me when I can continue.
I'm waiting for you to share your screen.
Oh. Okay. I don't know why I was disconnected. The mix call. Okay, I got it.
All
Okay,
right.
am I back?
All right. How do we set these up and install them? Because nobody cares about the history of them, and they'll learn what they do as you teach them.
Okay, so I'll install another plugin that I'm going to use later, but I'll install it now. So same thing as we've kind of seen with themes. You can click Add New and explore all the things that are available on the plugin repository. Or if you know the function or the name of the plugin you're looking for, you can type it. Right now, I want to install a plugin that duplicates posts. So I can just write something generic like duplicate, and you'll see all the posts, all the plugins that have functions that include duplicating stuff. The one I recommend is Yoast Duplicate Post, which has recently been acquired by Yoast. So you just click on Install Now, and once the plugin install, click on Activate, and now you'll see the new plugin listed among the other plugin you have installed on your website. That's how simple it is. In most cases, simple plugins don't even have settings, and so you don't need a lot of things. Some other add menu items here in the dashboard, but we'll go through this later. Very quickly, last thing, CoBlocks is a plugin that adds some extra blocks. We're going to see now what a block is to the editor. So add new functions and things that are not included in the basic WordPress editor. So back to our friend Arale Norimaki website. So we're going to build, we said, this page.
Just checking you have a cup of water.
Oh, thanks. I do have a cup of water. Thank you for taking all the walk from your position. Okay, so we're going to create basically a pretty much exact copy of this page. So we'll click on the plus sign you'll see on your toolbar, and then page. So this empty minimal thing is the new WordPress editor, and it looks a little different than the old editor, but if you've never used WordPress before, it's how WordPress looks like.
Hey, I took off the top bar that says the show topic, and now they can see all your tabs and stuff. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay. I'll
just
just hide my shortcuts.
Okay. Because we couldn't see the plus and some of the things at the top.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, cool. Go
Okay, so So this is the page we're going to build. So we gave a title, first of all. And now let's start putting content.
To just mention very quickly, what is the purpose of the title of the page? Where does that show up, and where do people see that? You know, is that the title that's in the bookmark? Where does the title show up?
Okay, so the title will show up on most pages. You can turn it on or off if you want to show it, and we'll see how in Generate Press there's this option to enable or disable showing the page title. It's very important because it's basically the first information about the page that search engines will find. So this is a very important aspect of your page, and even the title I gave now, it's a like working title for sake of speed, but we can come up with different titles or something that is more likely to attract traffic specifically to the content you're building for. So basically, the block editor in WordPress is what you're seeing now. So all the content you add to WordPress is made by blocks. So for example, now I edit the title. I want to add a subtitle. So I'm starting to write here. So this is just a simple line of text right now, but what you can do once you have any element on the page is either add new blocks or change the blocks you are using on the screen. So I will click here on this icon, which is the paragraph icon. If I click here, I can decide to change this to a headline. So for example, now I change this to a headline, and WordPress automatically gives me an H2 quick HTML reference. The main title of a page is supposed to be H1, and then all the other titles, even for accessibility, should follow an order from usually H1 to H6. There's also this option here called list view that will show you basically a we'll use this later, but basically it shows a list of all the elements in your page. And here, especially when you write, you'll have other information on the page. But for now, we'll turn it off. So we have a subtitle. So the other thing I'd like to do is to add another block, and I will add a container. So this is one of the blocks that came with generate blocks. So let me, you can either upload, or I loaded something in the media library, so I'll just select an image. And now you can see the image on the page. So quick information about the block editor interface. While you're building and adding content on the page, everything on the page, as I said, is a block. So this is a headline block. This is an image block that it's, if we open the list view, you can see that this is an image block inside a container. The container is not necessarily there if you're not using generate blocks. I recommend to use it because the container adds some other functions here, like padding. So if you want to give more space between the header and your image, you can do it through the options that the container block adds. And this is something that, as of now, is not yet part of the basic WordPress editor. So if you notice here, you have this sidebar, this toolbar, which has two tabs. So one is page, which has all the information related to this page. So tells you if the page is already going to be, it's already published, or if it's public, or for example, you want to create a page, but it's in this case, we're building a portfolio, so you might have something which is private or not yet live, or you want to share just with somebody you trust because you don't want to make something broadly available. So a page can be public, private, or password protected. So you can even click this option, set a password, and share it with the person you're sharing the page with. Of course, you'll send the page URL and the password, and just them, just those with link and password will be able to use it. And all these other things are like permalink, which is part of the actual address of the page, a featured image, which in this case we're not going to use. Discussion is whether you are allowing or not comments. And page attributes, it's something you will use when you have some hierarchy in your website structure, so we can see it later. Right now, what I want to change is, instead of default sidebar layout, which adds a right sidebar to the page. So if we publish the page, so what I did was clicking on publish, and once you publish the page, the button will become update. So if I update again the page, this pop-up tells me that the page has updated. So this is what I published right now. We have a title, subtitle, an image, and there's this sidebar here, which is more common on the blog part of your website, but we might not want on a main page. So what you do when you're on any page, you can just click edit page here in the toolbar, and you're back into editing. And so this is way faster than pretty much any other builder around. So highly recommend it. So we don't want the right sidebar, so we open this drop down and select node sidebars. So once we do this, update, let's view the page, and now the sidebar disappeared and this image is already a little bigger. So let's keep editing. Let's click on edit page. If we want to make this page, this image full width, there's a control here. Change alignment actually includes, beside left, center, and right, also a full width option. So we can just turn on full width here, update, and let's see what it becomes. So right now the image became full, so it's looking closer to the mega cool we wanted to build. So next thing, let's continue editing. The next we had on the page is a box with the project context or some background. So I'm copying some from the other page. So right now I will use the list view to just keep track of what I'm adding to the page. To add another block, you can either click here and add any other block, or for example, you want to add, we'll see it later, but just as an example, you want to add an accordion, you start typing what you want, and you'll find a block that suits what you're looking for. Or a YouTube video, for example, you start typing and there's a block for YouTube video. So that's an example of how the searching for blocks and inserting blocks into the page works. So right now I want to add another container to create a box with more content. So I'll click on container. So we added another container here. So inside I will add a grid block. So a grid block, it's basically a block that adds columns to the page. Let's say we want to use this block, like a narrower column and a bigger one. So inside this column I will add another headline block. So headline, this is going to be the project background. As I said earlier, we want to keep track of the hierarchy of the title. So if we have H1 and H2, this should be an H3. So we can just select the block here and click on the H2 square and turn it into an H3. A common mistake is choosing like the age number and the title number by size. So the general rule of thumb is keep the hierarchy, and then you'll be able to also change how big or small some font is. I'll show you how. So here we're adding a paragraph block, and with the content I copied and pasted from the other page. So let's click update and see the page and see what the bar. So we have title, subtitle, hero image, and now we're seeing that we have these two columns here. Not a lot of space between image and in these two columns, so we might want to fix this. So the way to go is to edit the page. Again, my recommendation is to open the list view so you can see all the elements that are on the page. So this column here, this column here are all inside the grid that was inside a main container. It takes a little practice to get used to thinking in boxes and containers and get used to find this somewhat natural, but it's worth spending some time to practice and just play with it. So we said that the image and this text here was too close, so we can add some, let's say, 50 pixels of margin. So let's see the page. If we scroll down, you can see that there's a little more space here. So it gives the content a little more room to breathe. So let's keep editing. In the Mega Cool app page, this box had a subtle gray color. So what we can do here to add some background color is to select the container that includes all the headline and paragraphs. So once you select the container, you can go on colors, choose background colors, and in this pop-up here, let's say add an F9 or maybe F7. So okay, so it's a very light gray. So next problem here is that you'll see that we added this background color. Let's get rid of the list view for now. So we added this background color, but it doesn't look great as the text is very close to the edges, and it's a little weird. So what we'll do is, again, open the container, like click on the container, go back to spacing, and this is, let's quickly talk about the difference between padding and margin. So basically, all web pages are, since we used to build a website in HTML, there's something called the box model. Basically, the idea is that any content you put on a page is inside a box, and you can have a space outside this box, and this is the margin. For example, if we add more margin to the container we're working on now, you'll see that there's a space added outside the gray box here. While, let's bring this back to 50, while if I add, let's say, 40 pixels of padding, padding is the internal space in the box. So it's the space between your content and the edge of the box that contains whatever content you're putting on the page. So I added 40 pixel on top of the content. If we want to quickly assign the 40 pixel all around this box we're creating, there's this switch here. So you can just sync the 40 pixels to all the sides of the box, and you can now see that both the title and the paragraphs have some room to breathe. So update and see the page. Okay, so just as a quick recap.
That's really subtle.
What?
That's really subtle.
Oh, well, let's make it a little more gray. Or let's use another color. Let's see. So just as a quick recap, this space, oh well, let's give it some other color. Otherwise, if it's too subtle, you might not see it. So list view, container, We go back to colors here, click on background color. So we'll switch this very subtle or too subtle F7 with this color. So now this should be more visible.
Yeah.
Okay, I hope this is better. If it's too much, you also have, beside having basically a color picker here, so you can just pick whatever you want.
Not that.
Yes, I quickly created a palette from Arales pictures. So this is one of the colors I picked. So if this is too strong, the slider here, just below the color picker, acts as transparency slider. So you can also make color a little less strong if you want. So that's up to you. Let's just use the color I picked. So update, and let's see. Okay, so here's our yellow box. Again, this space here is margin. So it's the space between the external, between the, let's say, the box and what's outside the box. While the space inside the edge of the box, between the edge of the box and the content, that's padding. So these are two terms that you might want to be get more familiar with if you've never used HTML before.
What
I
if we
hear
wanted
Debbie.
that peachy golden background to be full left to right?
If we want this to be fully left to right, we'll
What's the background color?
well, same thing. You'll select the container and click on the alignment tool and select full width. So update, let's see what happened. There you go. So now you have full width, like edge to edge color.
Okay, great, thanks. So then people know how to make background colors for smaller boxes and containers or columns, as well as the full width. Another question I have is, you seem to be staying in one tab and moving between this editing screen and the preview. Can you have the preview in a separate screen and just hit update here and then go to that one and refresh so you don't have to keep editing the page?
Well, I can do this. I mean, I can have. I mean, this is the page. For example, let's go back here and set this as wide instead of full width. Update. If we go on the page and refresh, now we're back to basically the box we had earlier.
Okay, I was just checking because people might have different styles of trying to move back and forth between their editing and their previewing. Thanks.
Yeah, that's actually the way I usually go. But for the sake of the lesson, I wanted to
No, I think we
to
got
make
smart
clear
people
that,
here who are catching on fast. I would say use your best practices.
okay, so we'll just keep using that. So the next thing we're going to build is another, let's say, so there was something in the, let's add another container. Actually, that's too much. I'll remove it. So what I want to add now is another box here. Okay, so I'll click add block container. Okay, now I got it. So there's a little note from Delta CX that we want to add. So basically copying the content from this project page from the Delta CX website. So I'm adding this. This is a little note. So let's see how we can make this smaller. So this is just the default paragraph block, but I put it inside a container. So let's use again our friend, the list view. So if I click on container, I know that I'm selecting this. So I wanted to create this as a quick notice or note separate box. And if I chose to put this inside a container, because if you're using a container, then you have control over background colors and spacing and all the things we just saw. So let's say that this could be 20 on all sides. And as this is a node, we can also make the text a little smaller, just like fine print. Another nice thing, for example, you can even, right now I just pressed enter here, so in order to separate this line from this other line. So these are now, as you can see, two different paragraph blocks, because this can be bold, or for example, I want to make this as headline. Let's use this as an H4. So if you're going to be using the same setup as I'm using here, the headline block with blue H is the one from Generate Blocks, which has some more interesting functions added compared to the standard one that comes with WordPress. One of these is, for example, an icon function. So let's just take something. There's not a node. Let's say this is a node. So we'll just add something here. So you can either use any of the icons that are included here, or you can copy SVG codes from any other icon library you're using or you have access to. There are several ones available even for free on the web. I just wanted to show you how to create like a node here that would stand out from the project background block. So this is what we've done. So I'll update, go back to the page, refresh.
And I'm going to jump in because we have a question from the chat room. Anita was wondering if we recommend sketching out the layout or creating the design of the portfolio before we jump right in. And I think it really depends. I think in some cases people are inspired by another portfolio they've seen, so they might be copying that layout or taking the best of that layout and leaving out the worst of that layout. And then Catherine was saying that she finds that if she starts sketching out a portfolio, sometimes she can't find the blocks or things that match what she has sketched. So to me, I don't think there's a wrong way to go, whether you're working from another portfolio where you like the layout of it, or you've done a sketch first of something that you want. I think either way, it makes sense to have a plan so that you're not just jumping in like, now what do I do? And Catherine says, what sort of site is WordPress suited to build for? Can it be used to build marketplaces. I would say you can absolutely use WordPress to build anything. The deltacx.com website is WordPress. Pierre Mario builds lots of different websites, and he does specialize in e-commerce and marketplaces. So, Catherine, again, if anyone has any questions about WordPress or what it can be used for, please feel free to reach out to Pierre Mario. You can find him on LinkedIn, and you can also find him on happierweb.com. Catherine, yes, without coding. You can certainly build in WordPress for e-commerce with plugins. Some are paid and some are free. For example, WooCommerce is one plugin you can use. Pierre Mario, I'll mute my microphone. Anything you want to add to Catherine's question about can you use WordPress to build marketplaces without knowing coding?
Yeah, you can build pretty much everything you can think of with WordPress. Now I'm just using the most simple layout I could think of because I wanted to create something simple that even somebody with not a lot of experience can use. But there's a lot of free and paid plugins that basically add any kind of function to your website. So really, to go quickly back at what Anita said, in this case, when I used to build, I'm kind of moving away from page builders. I used to use Divi a lot. I'm still using it on some projects, but this is, to me, in my opinion, this is not where WordPress is heading. So I've been concentrating more into the Gutenberg and new editor functions. So with page builders, it's a little easier to have even a visual idea of what you're building, while Gutenberg is still a little lacking some of these visual references, and it's something they're already being they've been working on this, so it's expect to have some improvements on this. But if you're building something just in pure Gutenberg, as we're doing, I think that a little sketch or some like very quick wireframe of what you're building might be actually useful. So I would agree with Anita if she wants to do a little sketching. Right now, I'm sharing this page, but actually I have a big screen. So on the side of the screen, I actually have this page just like as a smaller width, just to have a visual reference of what I'm building. So anything that just suits your way of building or just makes things easier for you, just absolutely go for it.
And I just want to quickly respond to another thing in the chat room where Glenn said that you can use the password function that Pierre Mario showed earlier to protect NDA project examples. Let me remind everybody that if you have a project or project case study or example that is under NDA, you might not want to put it on your website at all. If it cannot be disclosed, if it is still confidential, I do not recommend breaching confidentiality and putting this on your website. Someone will find that password, someone will see that project, people will tell people. Please do not breach confidentiality and NDAs to put up something on the website. If you want to know how I'm addressing that, go to deltacx.com/work. That will redirect you to my portfolio page on DeltaCX, and you will see that where things are private, I am switching into storytelling mode instead of showing actual artifacts, and I am telling stories about projects without disclosing the confidential details. So please, please, please be careful. Catherine says, in the past, I found the updates of plugins to be clunky. Pierre Mario, I believe plugins can now be set to auto-update so that you don't have to worry about maintenance. Am I correct?
Yes, let's quickly see it. So Let's go to the plugins. So now, since a few, I think from WordPress 5.7, so 2 major versions ago, you now can set all the plugins to automatically update. I generally keep this on auto update for all my websites. On customer websites, some are set on auto update, but mostly when something is like not mission critical, like I sometimes prefer to update manually things like a WooCommerce installation or big plugins, talking about like paid plugins that manage like very core functions of a website. So with small plugins or things that can't really go wrong, like this plugins I installed, I would totally suggest to use auto updates. It usually works seamlessly, and worst case scenario, if something happens, like an error happens on the website while you're updating, you'll immediately receive an automated message from your WordPress installation telling you what went wrong, and you have like a special link that will make you log back into your website, even if there's like a general error. That it's very more rare than it used to be. But years ago, we used to have it was kind of common to have like white screen of death or unknown error, and so you had to find out what was going on. And this is now been greatly improved. So I would recommend to set all your plugins to auto update, especially on a small website. I wouldn't do it on an e-commerce, because being automated updates, they can happen. They are generally scheduled by WordPress, depending on your time zone, but you might have like a website updating while somebody is buying something. So you might want to manually choose when you're updating the website, and maybe do it at the wee hours of the day or night when somebody is less likely to be on your website doing critical things. So that's
And
the
Glenn
quick
wants to
version.
know if we use WordFence. I think you were using, was it WordFence or iThemes?
I like Wordfence a lot. I use it on many websites. I generally use, so far I used Wordfence or iThemes Security. Both have free versions. I've also been starting to look into other websites, some other new plugins that do the same thing, or most of the same thing, but without uh, basically with less bloat. So WordFence is a great plugin, and it saved countless websites, including some of those that I manage or used to manage. But depending maybe on your hosting, it can be a little like bit of a resource hog at some point. It's getting better and better, but I've been trying to switch to the lighter versions of everything, because you'll see everywhere that there's a big stress on Google performances indexes and so-called core web vitals, which are these metrics that measure how fast your website loads, and what's the time to interactive between like load in a page, and can the visitor do something on the page quickly enough. So with this attention to performance, which is good, using lighter version of things is a good way to go. But until I find something better and faster, I would totally recommend WordFence.
Great. Thank you for all the super questions and super advice. Pierre Mario, can we get the rest of the page done in 45 minutes?
I
All
think
right,
so.
let's go into 1.5x mode. Lightning round.
Okay, lightning round. I was going to add a container here. So I started building something here in the meantime. I'm now going to add the accordion that we were trying to add earlier. So let's do some copy and pasting from the other page. So I'm not talking a lot because at 1.5x I need to concentrate a little on things. But basically what I'm doing, I added an accordion block. And this is one of the, let's say, special or specialized blocks that came with CoBlocks, the one of the other plugins I installed, which has many interesting blocks compared to the basic Gutenberg editor. So now I'm just adding more things here. So there's 3 more to go. Let's speed up. So session execution. So 1 more and we're good. So right now I'm just leaving everything with using the default design. So I'm not updating colors or fonts on the accordion, what it looks like. Okay, so this is the accordion we used. I think it's working. So next we have so for example, there's a bit of sometimes you'll find that Gutenberg has weird places for like the plus signs, these little cubes that make you add more blocks. And so I generally, whenever I'm building, let's say a whole new section of the website, I want to make sure that these are like all main sections, so they're not nested. So what happens here is that while looking at the list view, if I add something, let's say a paragraph, it's putting this block as nested under what I already had. In this case, I don't want this, and it's not what I needed. So as I can seem to find maybe this one, yay, I did it. So the black black cube with the plus is the one that adds a whole new section, but sometimes it gets hidden. So if you don't find it, or when I don't find it, one thing I do is use the list view. If you hover on actually any block, but let's say the main section here, click on the three dots menu, you can select insert after. So it will add a new block, which is by default a paragraph block. But to me, what I want to know is that I'm already at the new main block level. So another quick way to add blocks is to start typing slash. And when you type slash, you can then either, now I want to add a container, but same thing applies to the YouTube or any other block you want to bring up. So just do slash and select or start typing the kind of block you want to use. So slash container, we now have a new block. Now I'm going to add a headline. This is going to be search analysis and synthesis. So this is probably a bit of a bug. I don't know if it's my computer or something, but I would expect more commands to add new blocks. When something like this happens, just press return and you'll be on a fresh line, and now magically the black add block cube will magically appear.
We have a question.
Yes.
Sheer wants to know that do we have suggestions for WordPress hosting, and is there such a thing as free website hosting? So I want to mention that my WordPress sites are on DreamHost. You can find all kinds of different packages there, but I would suggest don't expect to find free web hosting because chances are there's a price you're paying that you can't see. I've seen very cheap WordPress hosting that didn't allow you to have email, so you probably don't want that. But my advice is typically you can find reliable and inexpensive hosting at DreamHost. Not sponsored. I am paying them. Pierre Mario, who do you recommend for less expensive but reliable WordPress hosting?
I think your hosting is one that has interesting, not too expensive plans, but any major hosting company has more or less affordable starter plans. One thing I'd be, especially if you want to be on a budget, an ugly surprise sometimes is finding out that your hosting, whether it's cheap or expensive, does not include an SSL security certificate, which is a must-have on your website. So at least here in Italy, most hosting bundle at least a free version of an SSL certificate, like a basic version that works for whatever website that is not like a high security. You don't want to use like a cheap one if you're running like an e-commerce, but if it's a blog or your small portfolio or big portfolio, even a free SSL certificate will do. But if your hosting makes you pay for the certificate, that could usually range from like $60 up per year. So it can be as expensive as the hosting itself. So I would say double and triple check that your hosting plan includes at least an SSL certificate.
And remember that a lot of these inexpensive hosts are trying to upsell you on stuff, so you don't have to agree to all kinds of additional things. And even on DreamHost, when I go to install WordPress, it's like, and do you want the website builder? And do you want the special bundle? Just say no to everything. Go as simple and vanilla as you can and start building like Pierre Mario showed you. Also, remember, you're going to need your own domain name. Once you're getting your own hosting, you want your own domain name, which is going to be good for SEO and email as well. So think about that and about your personal brand. You do not want to have glencarey.wordpress.com. Then you're giving all the SEO love to wordpress.com. So make sure you're getting your own .com, whether it's your name or something cute or clever. And remember, there's lots of new TLDs out there. If your .com isn't available, and that's still the best way to go, there's .design and there's a couple of other stuff that's kind of fun. So make sure you get your own domain and then think about your email address too. Back to Pierre Mario, who is building, building, building.
Yeah, in the meantime, what I did was, let's see, with list view. So I had a main container, a headline, so research analysis, this is a headline, then we have a paragraph, then I added a grid because I wanted two columns here. We're just going to use something very quick. So just quick notes here. When we add an image, there's some settings that you'll find on the block toolbar, which again, when you select, it's contextual. So when you select any block, this block toolbar will change and will give you the tools that you need for that specific block. So what I did here was turning on for both this image and this other image, like toggling the lightbox option, which makes the page, makes the image load in a lightbox when we click on it. So that's one thing we want to do. So let's keep building. Then if we have some extra time, we can make things a little prettier, but I think it's, but let's just finish this part. Okay, so I'm adding more. I'll add another container because then I want to use some spacing and padding. So once I'm here, I had already uploaded some images, but one very important thing whenever you're adding images on your website is make sure you fill the alt text or alternative text, because this is very important for accessibility. It's what screen readers will read. So it will make your website more accessible and make everybody happy. And on top of that, as a bonus, alt texts are also what Google reads. So if you do your homework and add meaningful, let's say, for example, this image that we'll use later, you want to add to write descriptive alternative text. So for example, this is a screenshot of a Zoom capitalize zoom, call with the whole UX team, Marcella and Meryl. So this is what the screen readers will read and what Google will index for this image. So you want to do this for all the image you add on your website. So let's go back to this Miro board. You can add a caption, and once you're here, you can align caption. Okay, you find the caption where you want. And if you don't want to overbuild with containers and stuff, there's also a spacer block that you can use. Let's add Anita's my Miro board. Add another caption, align center. Okay. Let's update the page. So there's some padding or margin we could use here. Maybe this this section might be nicer if it were all let's turn this into full width.
What are you doing?
Right now, what I'm doing is I made this background here full width, and I added some padding here, and I was about to build the last part of it. So there's the final presentation part. So I'll click on container, insert after. I'll add a new container because we have a whole new section here. Let's start with the headline. So final. Let's start adding some padding here.
I hope this is making sense to everybody watching. If you have any questions, I am monitoring the chat room, so please ask your questions. Thanks.
Yes, please ask questions because I might be. I'm trying to build it as a little faster, so I'm sorry I'm not talking a lot. So right now, just to recap, we added a new container for this final section, headline, and a paragraph. So I'm now going to add another image, which is the screenshot for which we had just written the alt text. So I'll add it here. So let's add another spacer. This is you don't want to add slashes where you add captions. That was a mistake. So I'm adding another spacer. And then we have I'm adding a grid here because I want to add two images with 2 slides. So in the first column, I'm going to add an image selected from your library. It's the typologies. Yes. So this is the first slide image. I'm going to toggle lightbox on. This percentage you see here is what size the image will be embedded into the website. So you can play with that if you want to have different sizes, or you will be a little adventurous. Let's add this other image here. So let's update the page. So we could use a little space here and maybe some more space here, because this with all the white background, they don't really look like 2 different slides. So let's go back here. Maybe just for the sake of clarity, let's add a very subtle background. And back to the grid, which is the module which lets you add these 2 columns. In the sidebar, you'll see horizontal gap. So it's the space between the 2 blocks. So I'm going to give them like 40. Let's add another spacer here. So one nice thing about the spacer module is that you can also drag it to resize it as you wish. So right now it could even be like, let's say 30 pixels. Let's see if it's any better. So you can see that now the 2 slides look a little more like independent slides, and we can open them in the lightbox, at least the one for which I toggled lightbox. So this other slide needs to have lightbox turned on. So update. And now we'll add a final block here. Which is the a testimonial from Marcella, which is, by the way, do you want to say anything about the project while I build?
Did I want to say anything what?
About the project that is being showcased in this portfolio page?
Oh, I can quickly. This was one of our apprentice projects from 2021, and it included the fantastic Kayleen Lee and the fantastic Anita Nankam in no particular order. So we did a project for these musicians. You can read all about it both on Pierre Mario's screen and on the Delta CX website on deltacx.com/work. Sirocco has a question. Just to check,
Yes.
if you're getting hosting through, say, GoDaddy, and they have something called Managed WordPress, is that different than the free version of WordPress?
No, it's the same, but sometimes when you see managed WordPress, it means that they will do some of the maintenance for you, which also means that those plans are usually very expensive, or way more expensive than the self-managed or just the WordPress installations you basically take care of by yourself.
And let me also add that when we say free WordPress, we mean that the WordPress.org open source version of WordPress, there is no charge for it. You are paying for hosting, you will pay for your domain name, and if you're not careful, you might also pay for an SSL certificate so that you have your HTTPS secure site. But WordPress itself is not charging you. You can compare this to WordPress.com, where you end up at sirocco.wordpress.com, and you are paying WordPress for not just the right to use WordPress, but also various packages and features and plugins. Everything is a paid add-on over on WordPress.com. So not only do you lose the cool SEO and things like that, but unless you, I think, pay extra to have your own domain name on it, but you will be paying for WordPress. So when we say it's free, it's just that you're not paying to license WordPress, but you do still need hosting. So don't expect any hosting to be free, and double check cheap hosting, because make sure you want to have guaranteed uptime. You want to make sure to have email addresses, things like that. I've seen cheap hosting get really strange and try to be like, an email address is extra, and you're like, but I need that. So
I'm ready for the next explanation whenever you're done.
go. Back to Pierre
Sorry,
Mario.
didn't mean to interrupt. So right now I was building a testimonial, like a quick testimonial section that so far looks pretty ugly. So I built Olivia. Sorry, puppies. Yes. So let's make this a little prettier. So what I did here was add in a container, a grid, which was a very narrow column on the left, and another column on the right. So first of all, I already added in the container here some margin on top, so that I added this space here between the slides and this box. So what I'll do now is, for example, Marcella's image, I can use this function to make it rounded. Then let's see, let's add some spacing around the whole container, maybe even 40. That's better. So now I'm clicking on grid. Let's add some gap between the two columns. The next thing I'll do is to select this text. And in the toolbar, you'll see this color section and text color. You can just select white. And I gave pressed enter to make put Marcella's name on another line, and that's it. So I just wanted to quickly show something else.
How do we get those rounded corners?
The rounded corners on the image?
No, the rounded corners on the container, the
Oh,
purple
sure.
container.
Sure. So we get them by selecting the container. So let's double check it's the right one. So it's the main one. So you see it because it's the purpley background color. So go under spacing, and for some reason under spacing, this is a generate block setting, but it's free, so we won't complain. You'll find border radius, so you assign it to all the sides, then you can just play with it. So if we update the page. Now the testimonial is looking a little better. So we could...
Is there a way to vertical align the right column to the left?
Yes. So that's... I'll just have to see... Wait, I think it's on the block level. I hardly use it, so sorry. Wait, is it? Okay, it's not aligned, so I'm missing something here. It's one of, there's definitely a setting here, but it's one of those functions I barely use, so now I'm missing where it is.
Could it be in the right column somewhere once you pick the...
It was usually in the... Well, so here, like vertical alignment, yes. So center. So one thing I'm doing, one of the trickiest thing of using Gutenberg, especially at the beginning, is to find out where, like which block you're actually editing. So if I click
Can you
here,
name your
like,
blocks?
you can also name your blocks. Maybe not this smaller one, like the containers. You can rename them. Wait, you can add anchors. There's something now. No, I know, but I'm mixing some things between Gutenberg and generate blocks, so I'll have to double check.
Sorry, I'm asking the tough questions.
No, it's okay. Generally, you have more time when you're building a website. So what I was saying here is that if you keep the list view here as a visual reference and you click, let's say, on the text here, once the pop-up goes away, you will also see where, like once you click here, the list view will highlight where you are. So now I'm going up with the arrow key. So when you go up, it selects the basically the container or the block that is higher in the hierarchy. So now I went with the arrows from the text paragraph to the container, and as Debbie pointed out, the vertical alignment was in the toolbar. So I set this to center. I will do the same, I guess, with the image. So what I did was click on the image and do arrow up, or just click on the container which has the image inside. And let's just add vertical alignment center on the picture to update. Then update everything, and now it seems to be vertically aligned.
Yeah, that looks pretty good. New question from me. Let's say now that you've built that module with the purple background and the rounded corners and the picture and the quote, and you want to use that over and over, either on this page or other pages, is there a way to make your own library of containers or components?
Yes, there is a way that it's been currently been built, and it's going to be more widely available soon. Basically, let's say you have this accordion block. So if you go through the option page, you can use this function, which it's a new one, so I haven't really been playing with this. When you do add design pattern, it will create basically something that you will be able to share and use again on your website. We're almost out of time, so this is one of the main functions that are coming with the new version of WordPress. I'll quickly show you something now. One common error that came up just weeks ago while this was being developed basically is that if you add something to a reusable block, it will create like a block that you can reuse, but you have to be very careful because if you create something and then save it as a reusable block, it will basically work as a master in Axure. So you will have something that you can use over and over, but you will, if you change the block on one page, the block will change on all the pages where the same block pattern has been used. So just
and a quick note from me, in Axure 10, masters are now called components. So if you're in Axure 10, he's talking about components. We're going to be winding down in the next few minutes. So if you have any last questions about WordPress or portfolio building or these the blocks and the containers and the editor, please ask it now. I see we still do have a few people watching live, both on YouTube and I was going to say WordPress and LinkedIn. Thanks to people who have stuck with us for almost a 2-hour marathon. And of course, thanks to Pierre Mario for sharing his skills and ideas with us. If anyone has a question, please ask it now. No question is stupid. All questions are welcome because we'll be signing off in a few minutes and we want to make sure you get the help that you need. Maybe while we wait for some questions to come in, let's remind everybody that you can find Pierre Mario on LinkedIn. I'm putting his name up on the screen. And you can also find his website at happierweb.com. Though I think, Pierre Mario, as we're speaking now, your website is only in Italian?
No, it's also in English, but I have to translate most of the portfolio. It's
partially
a
in
project
English
for the holidays. I also wanted to say that I'm also available on the Delta CX Slack if anybody wants to Slack me there.
That is
So
true.
I'll
If you want
questions.
to join the Delta CX Slack, it's completely free. You can find the link to it at deltacx.com/links. And you can find him just at Pierre Mario on Slack, and you will find him there. We've got some questions coming in. We've got one from Sirocco who says, when would you use spacer versus editing a container's margins?
So right now, I used Spacer just for time constraints. I usually prefer to use margins rather than adding blocks on the page. So this was just a quick workaround, and in the near future, more and more blocks will support padding and margin, even without extra plugins like the Generate Blocks one we're using. So I would, whenever possible, I would go with margins instead of adding, workarounds or as the spacer module. I wanted to quickly show a few things before we wind up.
Yeah, I was hoping you might show how we can preview and adjust this as a mobile responsive site. And I also wanted to quickly answer Glenn's question. Glenn is asking, would you build this as a staging site locally and then move to production, or do you just work in production right away? I would say if this is your very first portfolio and nobody is currently coming to your site, it's probably not too terrible to work straight into production. But if you're redoing an existing site and people might be coming to it, you might not want them to see the sausage being made, and you might want to do staging first. And Pierre Mario, we can see your screen.
Yes, I was just looking for this. If you want to play with WordPress, now this whole installation, not sponsored, has been built with Local, which is this great program, software, app, call it how you want, made by Flywheel. It will basically create a local installation of WordPress on your own computer, so you can play with WordPress without, like for free and without any worries of things being private, non-private, or staging. So maybe even before you buy some hosting, you can play on your own computer, installing Local and installing WordPress. Then there's also plugins that will create basically a copy of the WordPress website you built locally and transfer that to the staging, to the actual production address. So I will share happily names and addresses if you select me. So I hope I replied.
Yes, Glenn thanks you for that and used some sort of South African term that I'm definitely not going to pronounce correctly. He said it looks lekker.
Oh, so it's like delicious,
Delicious?
like lekker.
I don't know.
And
Sirocco says very cool.
Yeah, so I wanted to show you some quick things. Basically, one of the improvements that WordPress added to the Gutenberg editor recently is that if you choose, this will change shortly again, but if you choose basically a bad color for your for a module you're building. So if we choose white over a purple background, everything's okay, and it will pass contrast check. But if you choose a color that is not very readable, WordPress will now tell you that this will be hard to read for pretty much everybody, actually. But it's a nice accessibility function that they built in. So support for contrast again. So this is what we built right now. So it would need some extra love, and as usual, I was much longer than I thought. So somebody predicted that. We won't say who. So I wanted to quickly show you something else coming up that might be helpful when you're going to build your...
And I hope you can also show how people can preview the, say, a phone version of this and make some adjustments if things don't look right for a phone version. Thanks.
Okay. So let's do this first. So basically, one of the quickest tests you can do is just size your browser window, and this will give you like a mobile version of your page where you can spot at least like gross errors and errors with which definitely need help. You can see that now we have an hamburger menu instead of a regular menu. So this is something that you can use. So going back to the editor, whenever you're building something, for example, now we're back at the level here. I haven't changed any default size for the text in the in what I did here. So if you don't change anything, the text will most likely resize and be readable even when you see the page on tablet or mobile. But if you need to change something, there are these 3 tabs here which give you a rough preview of what looks on tablet, and change typography accordingly. Let's say that for a tablet you want to, oh, this is a bug, it went from 17 to 1, so let's put 16. So you can adjust the text here or reset. And same thing for mobile. So for example, now we can see that on mobile this title has no padding at all, so we can just click on mobile, spacing, and add, if we don't want to add extra space up and down because it's already enough, we can add, say, like 20 to the right and 20 to the left. So this will be, is just a quick way of adding something. So even here, these images are too close to the edge of the page, so we can definitely work more on this page. This, as low as it was just a rough preview of what you can do. What I quickly wanted to show you, let's do it on a new page. One of the most interesting things that are coming on WordPress 5.9 is the pattern directory. Basically, whenever you will add a block, you have the option to add a block here. But if you click Browse All, or if you click this plus square here, this is called the block inserter, and it has a patterns tab, which basically has an ever-growing list and repository of pre-built elements for WordPress pages. So you can already use some of these to, now I'm just adding things randomly, but you get the idea. So you can quickly add something to your website and just start playing there. So you have buttons, column, galleries, headers, and all sorts of other things. And this is something that it's currently been polished for the new version of WordPress, and in the near future we'll be also able to contribute to it. And if you want to just replace an image, you click Replace, open your media library, and add Anita and Colleen to the page. So just as a quick thing coming on WordPress 5.9. Any other questions in the chat?
I am not, let me unmute my microphone.
Okay.
Let me double check. Sirocco says very snazzy, so I'm not seeing any other questions.
I killed the internet. They are super bored. So just I recognize I once again didn't script this at all, and I added extra information that were not probably essential, but that's me. Feel free to message me on the Delta CX Slack or email me, and I'll be happy to explain better some things or guide you through the resources we named here and there.
Well, great. Glenn says you've made him want to try Gutenberg again, so that's a beautiful thing. Sirocco says this was fantastic. So I would say let's switch over to a giant picture of me, and why don't you come on over into my frame and say goodbye to your adoring fans. If you've enjoyed listening to the Pierre Mario, you can find him again next week on the show. He's going to be a guest on the Tuesday office hours on the 28th of December. Here he is. Yeah, we're in the same room, so we did the best we could there with all the microphone stuff. Yeah, thanks again for doing that.
Yeah, it's been a little messy, but that's me, so we can.
That's okay. We learned something. And anybody who needs more help can certainly check in with Pierre Mario, especially on our Delta CX Slack,
Yes.
which is, of course, free to join. And you can find him there and send him some messages. Very well done. Yes. And please subscribe and tell friends about it.
Yes.
So I'm going to play us out of here. Any closing words?
Play with WordPress, and if you feel curious, be part of the community and be a volunteer. It's fun. It's very rewarding. And ask questions on Slack. I'll be happy to help and make up for the mess I did
No,
in
you
2 hours.
did a great job. I thought it would take 2 hours, and here we are at 2 hours. And there, everybody's thanking you. Thanks to the troopers who stayed here for 2 hours and took this in. It will be in the micro lessons playlist. If you like it and want to share it with other people, it will be there shortly. So for now, I'm going to play us out of here. We're going to take a break for Christmas, but Pierre Mario and I think we're taking a break for Christmas. No, I'm doing office hours tomorrow. I'm going to do office hours early and late tomorrow, and then we're going to take a break for Christmas. So I will see everybody tomorrow, 10 a.m. Italy time, and again 6:30 p.m. Italy time. You wish you wore your green thing, right?
I wish,
So
yeah.
you could be green screened out.
I can still show,
Oh, here he goes, everybody.
I can still show one of my best new WordPress t-shirts.
Yay!
Yay.
It's a good one.
Yes.
Okay, not sponsored. Okay, everybody, I will see you tomorrow for office hours. Ask Me Anything. Thanks again to special guest Pierre Mario. Bye.
Bye.
Customer centricity as business intelligence. Visit deltacx.com to learn why we are